Hi everyone and welcome to another video. Today we will be doing a flip through of March in my HOBONICHI TECHO Cousin AVEC for 2022. So if you would like to see what I have done, please hang around, stay with me. Let's get into it. So going to the monthly page first. I love this. So this washi tape was an exclusive at my work washi gang. And then these stickers are Paper Geek Co stickers, which I also got from work. And autumn is my all-time favorite season. I love the smell of autumn, the wind, the temperature, when the sun starts to hit in my house that it doesn't reach in summer. It's also my birthday season and I'm so ready for autumn to start. So I did a bit of an autumn shrine with my colours and the decoration I had picked. But this is my catch-all. I do a lot of just writing down appointments and events and anything that I might be doing on certain days that isn't normal. And anything important I want to write down, I actually write down in a different colour. You can see here we got COVID at the end of the month, so I just drew arrow in different colour. And up here at the beginning of the month I went to Adelaide to visit my husband, so we had a few bits and pieces going on, but I thoroughly enjoyed coming back to this page. I don't always revisit my monthly pages, but I really did have a good time revisiting it this month with the vibe that it was giving off. So turning to my weeklies now. So this was the first week of March and it was also the last day of February, which if you saw my last video, we had some natural disasters happen in my local area. So if you want to find out more about that, you can go back to my February flip through. But I just wrote down in dot point in a different coloured pen what had happened that day, because work was closed and we were at my parents' house, and we were just watching the rolling coverage all day and there was just a lot going on, and my son fell over and we thought he concussed his head, but we couldn't get out of the street and it was just a nightmare. And then we also had some other flooding on the Wednesday and we had more storms predicted. So I just wrote those things in blue just so I could see what was like important, that was I need to remember, or a note, and then what was actually what I did during the day. So I didn't put my step tracker in this week because I left it at home and we were at my parents' house, and I put down this little Ukraine charity stamp from Salvage Patreon, just as a bit of a memory about what's going on there as well. So I did base my colours off this, the yellow and the blue. But by the end of the week, I actually was going to Adelaide already to see my husband. So I wrote down all the places that we went. We had a child-free weekend, 3 days, 3 nights without the boys, and it felt so strange, but it was so nice to spend quality time with my husband without any interruptions, crying, screaming, I'm hungry, I need to go to the toilet. If you're a mum, you know. So anyways, I just kind of had a running list of where we went so that I could go back and journal about that when I had time. And I also, in one of my latest journal update videos, I showed you, or you had a quick preview of my Adelaide travel journal. So I just kind of wrote all those down so I could come home and get all that sorted. But just to add to my natural disasters and stress for the week, I was in a totally different part of the country, but we got woken up by a 3.7 magnitude earthquake on the Sunday. So just send me to space at this point. In space there's no earthquakes, no flooding, no bushfires, no war. Just send me to space, I'm fine with it. Anyways, let's move on. So back to normal this week. I flew home on the early Monday and took an Uber to work. and back to my mail in, step tracker, mail out kind of layout. I didn't write a lot in this week. I was just feeling a lot and I was feeling a bit down, so I just kind of put in the essentials. I did still have my Tuesday to-do list though. And my dog escaped on Sunday, and we were at my parents' house watching a movie with the boys, and then I went on Facebook and there was a picture of my dog, people going in the local community group, there's this dog down at the local store tied up, if it's yours. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to run out and go get her. So that was also scary. I love this one. Oh, love the color and the stickers, and yeah. So I used the same washi tape and the same Paper Geek Co stickers that I used from here to put in here, and I just used my current favorite Tombow color and just a red Sarasa vintage pen. And yeah, it was pretty much it. I kept it pretty minimal. We put our house up for sale off market, so I just made a couple of notes in different color pen about that, just so that it was easy to see what I needed to know for that day and kind of the progression. I just kind of wrote down what the boys and I did on this day, and then we went to the wildlife sanctuary this day. So I've been really enjoying writing kind of big events sideways and taking up lots of space and just making it a bit more interesting to look at. This was starting well until Friday happened. Oh dear. We had a beautiful weekend planned. My husband arrived on Friday morning and we spent some time in the afternoon together to do something because it was my mother-in-law's 60th birthday party on this day. And then we went to go pick up the boys, and my youngest son was just struggling. His eyes were rolling in the back of his head and he was feverish and he was screaming. He gets a condition when he gets sick called, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's something like mesenteric enteritis. And pretty much it means that if he gets a virus like a cold, or even if he kind of like eats something that's going to irritate him, if his body's trying to process that, the lymph glands in his gut come up. With me, my lymph nodes in my neck come up and I get like a golf ball on the side of my neck when I get sick. But he is very unfortunate and his lymph glands in his gut come up and they actually press on his intestines. So he doesn't eat or drink because even having a sip of water, when it's digesting, it can be extremely painful. And it's very exhausting to him. So his eyes were rolling back of his head. He was really lethargic. He was feverish. He was pulling his legs up and screaming and arching his back. And it was very traumatic. So we had to call an ambulance. And then we had to go to hospital because he had a very mild fever of like 37.2. They had to put us in an isolation room. But thank God they did, because it turns out he had COVID and was asymptomatic. So yes, the lymph glands in his gut were up, which all the symptoms I previously mentioned is what generally happens. And we have to just go get ultrasound to make sure his appendix aren't up, or he doesn't have like kidney infection, or he doesn't have a blocked bowel. So we did that, but turns out he had COVID. So obviously my mother-in-law's birthday was cancelled because they had them on the Friday. So then my mother-in-law had to go into self-isolation. And then on the Sunday, my mother-in-law and I both tested positive. So that was fun. And then this is the self-isolation week. It was not good, I'm just going to say, and we're just going to leave it at that and move on. So let's go down to March. As you can see, I had a bit of a shrine to autumn. This is terrible. I hate it, but it was fun. It was fun. I was using stickers and washi tape I've not used yet, so move on. this day I got my Salvage Patreon from January, which was really good. I found out that my eldest son, who's in kindergarten this year, they recently got a new kindergarten teacher and he's male, and I was so stoked. Henry talks about him all the time, and he does lots of like sporty things with them, and especially with my husband being away, I was just really excited for my son to have a male kindy teacher, because that does not happen very often. And then my youngest was actually like putting full sentences together, so he was asking to play with some warm and cold water because he has these Hot Wheel cars that like change color. So he was putting full sentences together, and he was using really big words like trouble, so I had to write down those because I thought that was really clever. I had this idea late at night about doing a charity postcard for Ukraine, and sending all of the profits to the Ukraine Red Cross. So I have actually made this, printed it. It is currently in my shop. I will link it down below. If you are in the US or Europe, send me a message on either Instagram or on Etsy if you just want to buy postcards, because I can disguise them as a letter. As parcel postage is the only option I have in my Etsy shop. So if you do want to support, I think it's like $1 something, $1.40 something per postcard, goes to the Ukraine Red Cross. So if you would like to be a part of that, I do have these now in my Etsy shop. But I just got up late one night and drew it because I was literally laying in bed and I was like, oh my God, I need to do something. I really like this day. I dropped off a whole pile of donations. I spent the morning driving around the local community, and I've got a whole car boot full of food and nappies and medicine and clothes and a whole pile of stuff. And I dropped it off to a local pool shop, and they were taking it down to the Tweed River, and then people on just local community members were volunteering their time and taking the donations via either jet ski or by tinny into Lismore. Since Lismore was still flooded, you could just drive straight in there with your boat or jet ski. So I did that morning, and I was like kind of feeling like, okay, I've done something. It may not be a lot, but I've done something for the local community. And then I was just like, I need to do something for Ukraine, because I was having a lot of feelings. And then I was literally laying in bed, and I think I got up at like 11 and was like, oh my God, I have this idea, I need to do this. And then I just wrote a little note. My mum actually sent me a link to an article on collective trauma, and it made a lot of sense about how I was feeling, because I called her that day and I was like, because I went and picked up donations from her as well, and I was like, I don't know how to feel. I'm so confused, because I know a lot of people are focused on what was happening in Ukraine, but I was really focused on the flooding, and I felt bad because I felt like I didn't know what was worse at that stage. Like, anyways, I had a lot of feelings. So I just learned a little bit. I did some research, and I learned a little bit on collective trauma. And between COVID and Ukraine and the floods and just a whole pile of other things, I think there is going to be a lot that communities are going to need support, and their kids are going to obviously have that trauma passed on to them. So it was just interesting to learn about that, because it really honestly explained everything I was feeling, and I had a whole new light on my emotions. This day I didn't really have much to write, but I was going to Adelaide the following day, so I just wrote a packing list and made sure I didn't miss anything. I got some surprise mail from my pen pal Louise. Thank you, Louise. Hi. And she made me these beautiful little stickers to put on my Happy Mail, and I love them because she's used my logo, and I've got her little birdie stamp here, and yeah, it was just really nice. So this day I flew to Adelaide, and I actually kept the 3 days in Adelaide like the same colors and like similar things. So this is the place that we stayed, and it was amazing. The estate was over 100 years old, and it was just stay there if you ever go to the Adelaide Hills. It was beautiful, and Esme, the owner, was just wonderful. I just kind of wrote down like the main places that we went, and I kept like our parking ticket, and yeah, I've got a travel journal as well, but I just kind of put some extra stuff in here. And then this was just my receipt from Harndorf Leathersmith, and I asked the German Village shop for some of their stickers. I bought a candle from them and she didn't use a sticker, and I said, can I be really weird and ask for like maybe 2 of your packaging stickers? And she gave me 3, so that was really nice. I don't think she's had that request before. And then I just kind of wrote down that we went to Harndorf in the morning, and we went to a winery in the afternoon, and I put down a picture of our wine because we got like a little tasting tray and a little platter, and it was just really nice. And then earthquake, of course. And then I just kind of wrote about what we did that morning, and then we went back into Adelaide proper, and my husband took me rather, to his favourite place to eat where he's currently staying, so that was really nice. And then this day was just really busy. I flew home, went to work, and I got the boys, and it was just like washing, because the boys had obviously had a holiday as well at my parents and my parents-in-law, so lots of washing and lots of stuff to catch up on. And then I got more mail from Louise this day, and it was actually International Women's Day, but she sent me beautiful autumn themed mail because she knows I love autumn. I love yellows and browns and oranges. It's my all-time favorite color combination, so I just made a little collage with bits and pieces that she sent me. I got some mail from, well, I bought some earrings actually, so I got some mail from there. And then I went and made 2 orders at work this morning because I can't help myself, but I wanted to get some of these pressed botanical stickers for my travel journal to Adelaide, because I love the hydrangea stickers, but we don't have hydrangeas where I live. I don't think it's cold enough, but all the hydrangeas in Adelaide were in flower, and I was like, oh my god, I need to go to work and buy the hydrangea stickers. And then I got eucalyptus and some ivy, and it was really beautiful because the Adelaide Hills are like that kind of more European temperature, and there was a lot of ivy, a lot of hydrangeas, there was like wild blackberries everywhere, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in a different country. So I was very excited. So I made an order at work, and I got this new Ingrid B. Art washi tape, which I love because it's called Urban Birds, and it's like the birds we love to hate. It's bin chickens and bush turkeys and pigeons. So I found that was too funny. So that was kind of just like a little collage of whatever packaging I got that day. And then this was a collage with some new stuff from work and some of the washi tape from work. And the 11th of March marked 2 years of the global pandemic. So being a work day, I didn't really have too much to write. So I actually just Googled COVID just to write down a bit more information that, you know, we all know what it is and what it's caused from, but, you know, and what the symptoms are, etc. But I just wanted to write down just further information that, you know, if someone is reading back on this in the future, you know, what is it, what caused it, what are the symptoms, how does it transmit, how are we trying to you know, get on top of it. So that's kind of just like a little info sheet about what we've been dealing with. Saturday on the Washi Gang Facebook page, Emily, my co-worker, put up like a creative challenge, which was draw an apple using brush pens, and the color palette was like brown, green, and yellow. So I gave it a go. I don't have very many brush pens. I've only got Tombows, and I think I've only got like the pastel color palette and then just a couple of like browns and mild yellows that I liked. So this was interesting, but it was fun, and it took up a big chunk of my weekend because I don't generally have a lot to write on the weekend. So thank you, Emily, for giving me something to do. this was the day I mentioned earlier. My dog got out and we just kind of chilled out in the afternoon, so there's a bit to write about there. I also just thought I didn't really have too much to write in the morning, so I'd already stuck this down. But then I found some kind of like, is it memes? Memes? I don't know, I call them memes, but my husband sent me this one, and it's Harry Potter saying expensive petroleum, which I thought was really funny. And then I found this other one that was in regards to like the petrol prices, because that was like the main talking point for this week, is the petrol's gone up from like $1.70 something to like over $2.20. And I saw someone had written a meme about they have coronavirus, and I may have laughed out loud. So I just put those in there because I don't want to write about the petrol prices, because in all reality, for me personally, the petrol prices wasn't a big deal. It's just a side effect of what's happening between the floods and what's happening in Ukraine. So I don't really have a problem with it. It is what it is. It'll get better, but I just thought that these were really funny. You know, sometimes you're either going to laugh or you cry, you know. This day I got my brand new journals from Mel Molly Creations. So if you want to see what the journals are, I also have those in the same video as my Adelaide travel journal, which is the journal and life update. So I just put in a bit of the packaging, and she also had the Mog Cherie stickers and a Kiki K sticker, and then I just put in a little bit of the ribbon that she used to tie it up because it was just really pretty. And then I also got heaps of postcards that day, and I may have bought our family matching nature pajamas from Cotton On for Easter. Miffy, sorry. My husband's Dutch, so we call her Nature because that's her real name, but in the English world we call her Miffy, Bunny Miffy. Anyways, this is a good example of just how things work out color-wise to kind of match up. So I got Salvage Patreon again this day. February, 1 year of the tiger, and Donovan held like this really pretty foiled one and these labels, and I just really like to put all that in there. I also found these washi tape stickers that came out, so I'll just put one of those there. And then this day we got some new like washi tapes at work, and then the supply sent along these stickers, so we don't really have a use for them at work, so I got to take them home and put them in my journal. And I just really like how the yellow and oranges and browns, you know, it makes it all look cohesive even though they were like 2 separate days. I love that. This is the ephemera and washi tape that I'm using for anyone that orders my Ukraine postcard. So if you do go onto my Etsy and order my I Support Ukraine charity postcards, you will get an envelope decorated in blue and yellow. So I just kind of written about my typical day and written about that. This day I had a little bit to write, but same thing, it was a full moon. I had this sticker floating around on my desk, so I just decided to use it and just kind of write down what a full moon is, because the more you know. This I wrote a lot, and it was a Saturday, but I took the boys to the local shopping centre, which, I mean, we don't go out generally, and my youngest, who is already 2 and a bit, had only been to the grocery shops like twice because when he was like 8 weeks old, COVID hit, and he thinks it's like the best thing ever, and they got haircuts. So then we went to Kmart to buy a Hot Wheels car because they were really good, and we went and got some lunch, and it was just a really nice couple of hours out of the house amongst people. It was so strange. So I just wrote about that because we did a lot, we saw a lot, and the boys were really good. This day we went to the wildlife sanctuary again, and my sons wanted to show Nanny and Grumpy, who are my parents. Yes, my dad is called Grumpy for good reasons. But they wanted to show Nanny and Grumpy Honey World across the road, which just sells honey. But they also have bees and a little 10-minute educational bee video. So the employee there actually had made sticker packs with like old stickers, so that was fun. And then there's water droplets because the boys played in the splash zone, so you know, little things. I also joined in March. I did something called the Elevated Envelope by Erie Mail on Instagram, and it was like a mail challenge, and the theme was equinox, and I was like, I've heard of equinox, but I don't actually know what it is, like in its entirety, its full context. So I googled it, I learned something, I realized that it was going to be on the 21st. So this day I had like pre-planned to just write a little bit about what an equinox is, and then I kind of just journaled around it. But I thought that was really fun. I'm really enjoying Googling things and researching and expanding my knowledge this month. It's been a really good way to fill up my journal. This day I got some mail from my pen pal in Japan, Sayoko, and she also sent like an early birthday card. My birthday's at the end of this month in April, but she sent it early in case it got delayed, so that was really pretty. And these 2 pages are an example of what doesn't go together, because she's in spring, it is sakura season in Japan, and we are in autumn, so it's kind of fun to see like literally the 2 seasons side by side. I actually really enjoy that. This was some beautiful tissue paper that my bespoke letterpress order came wrapped in, and yeah, I just kind of matched. I pulled this color across in this pen over here, and I used some of my Witchy Vibes washi tape and some stickers from Paper Geek Co. again, and just some vintage dictionary paper, and I just really liked how that turned out. And this day was actually a really busy day at work because we had an Archer and Olive mystery box, which is also in the journal bundle update video. So that was good. And then this was the afternoon my son, we found out, got COVID. So this is my poor little boy in the ambulance, and he had the best time in the ambulance, but every time I asked him to look at me, he pulled this really sad face. Bless him. So anyways, if you've been following along with me for a while, you will have heard about the ambulance and fire truck episode of last year. And believe it or not, it was also in March last year. So we're having like a reoccurring pattern. Reoccurring, I mean, it's happened 2 years in a row where Luca has had to go to hospital in an ambulance due to his lymph nodes in his gut in the rain in March. So we'll see what happens next year. Anyways, this day was the first day of self-isolation, so I finally built this PlayStation Center sand pit thing that's literally been sitting in my lounge room for 2 months. So 2.5 months. So I've put that together, and we've just literally spent the last week outside, like playing with that. So we had a lot of rain, but because it was in the pergola, it was okay. I actually really liked this. It rained that day, so I kind of just wrote down some of the stuff that happened that day that I wanted to remember in the cloud. And then the raindrops, I wrote like things we did. So in the cloud, I wrote rainy day, Lismore evacuated again, we're flooded in, not that we can go anywhere anyways, and I was tired. I was also COVID positive. So that was like the big thing. And then this is just what we did. We watched TV, we played with cars, we played with the water, we had an ice block, we had leftovers for dinner, read books, the boys were jumping, played with the sand pit, they were running around. I think they had a couple of showers to kill some time, and they drank lots of milk. So I thought that was kind of fun. Like, this was like the big thing, and then these are like the little things, and I liked that. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. And this day I had a really crazy dream, so I wrote about that. And this takes us into the last day I was really getting over self-isolation at this stage. And the end of the week was very stressful for me, but we will leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. Weird note to leave it on, but thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you may have got some inspiration from this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye.